Hi, welcome to a small ramble here on the channel where mostly today I want to talk about two subjects. One of them is forestry, the other one is the RuneScape 3 UI. And let's start with forestry. I have talked about forestry twice by now, once on the No Monkey video and another one on my scaling video. For the most part, I actually wanted to make a video purely on forestry, but I think that the scaling video covered it pretty well, and I don't think that I would have matched to have a lot of the stuff that I touched on that video just really reflect on forestry anyway, so yeah, I don't really think that there's much to add when it comes to it. So instead of making a video and just making a third video on it and just clogging the channel with more forestry, I think that I just, decide to make a small ramble about it. Now, for the most part, I think that forestry did a very good job. I've never seen people so excited for woodcutting again, so that's a really good thing, and people seem to be enjoying it. It is far more social than than what it was before, which is what Jagex wanted, and they said as much in their blog post that they wanted forestry to be a more social stuff, that they wanted overall skilling to be more social, and that forestry did just that, which it did. For the most part, forestry itself is fine. I think that, yeah, it's mostly fine. I understand why it exists. I think that the thing that I don't necessarily completely agree with are the random events. I think the random events are fine. I just don't necessarily enjoy that they are the only one, like they are the only way to get specific things, especially anima, bark, and because like if you don't participate in the random events, you won't get anima bark from just the wing with canning, which I mean seems logical, but at the same time it's like if you just want AFK with canning, you kinda can't because you have to pay attention for random events. So maybe not the best there. Random events should still be the best way to get anima bark. I just wish that they weren't like mandatory in a way, because that what essentially made people do was just search for random events as opposed of just do forestry with other people. And this created a further problem where Jagex then had to nerf the amount of XP you would get and the amount of anima bark you would get if you just came across a random event that you didn't spawn to prevent people from mass swapping and stuff like that. Which, just goes against, I guess, what was supposed to, like, what forestry was supposed to do. Overall, though, I think it's fine. I also don't necessarily enjoy too much the fact that you can get the beaver, what are they called? Transmogs from events, not just from any event, from very specific events. I don't like transmogs being locked in very specific things again. Like, I think that it's fine to have them tied to events, but then either make it be able to be bought in the forestry store or make it so it's droppable from every event. Because again, it's kind of a little bit of an issue when you just have to wait for like a fox event if you want to get the fox transmog, or a chance to get the fox transmog, and same for the pheasant one. As far as I know, they're not that hard to get, so I guess there's that going for them, but still it's, in my opinion, not exactly the best approach to it. Now, as far as them removing the items, because they said that they were going to remove the items that spawn events, I think this is only logical. I get what they were going for with a lot of these items. They wanted especially logs and stuff like that to, be consumed continuously to spawn random events, but I just think that, yeah, like having to have specific random events or specific items for random events doesn't really help. Again, like it makes it so you can only participate in forestry if you like spend GP on it, which I think it's a bit counterintuitive to what they were going for. So I think that the removal of these items is overall a good thing. I'm glad that they are making, events just spawn for everyone, and I think that they're also making them slower or like take longer to spawn. So they're more dependent on, I guess, just trees in general as opposed of like how many people are carrying it and stuff like that, which I also enjoy because doing forestry in a forestry world where there's a lot of people around you, like you will just have events non-stop. It's like you're not even like AFKing with carrying, you're just not AFKing at all. You can't AFK to not miss any event because just event after event after event after event, and that gets a bit annoying after a while. So yeah, like I them making events sort of rarer in a way. Like again, I do think that they should tweak some events. I think that, like, for example, the Leprechaun is just honestly, who cares? Most people will be doing woodcutting next to a bank anyway, so it's a bit useless for it to exist. And it will feel like a missed opportunity of maybe again the Fox event, which is what people want and what not. Maybe having events on rotation, so you always know which one comes after, would probably be the best way to do it. But again, they're just events; it's not a big deal. Furthermore, I do think that they should at least make some events clearer because, first of all, almost missing the event because you don't know how to do it by talking to the NPC, like you're just missing potential rewards. And some events are just not clear what to do. I feel really lost in some events, especially like, again, the leprechaun. If it spawns and in all of the other events you were doing something for anime and then this one spawns and you're like, wait, I don't need to do anything. Yeah, it's a bit confusing overall. I wish that they were a bit clearer. I think that the shaman one, for example, the one that or the druid one, the one that spawns circles on the ground, that you need to find the odd one out. Again, it's a bit confusing when it first spawns because it's like you don't. Okay, you have circles on the ground. What the fuck do you do? It takes a little bit of while for you to, oh right, I need to step on the one that is, the odd one out. Which isn't always easy to figure out if you don't have entity either. There's a lot of players and whatnot, so it can be a bit hard to figure out or to see things. And that goes for almost every other event. In terms of visibility, when it comes to having a lot of players, it's rough to see what the fuck you're doing most of the times. So, I think this should just make them more clear. For example, I have participated in the little things that spawn, the little ants, and you need to cat them or whatever. I have no idea if I've done that event well or not. I don't know. I just seem to always get the same reward, and I don't know if I'm doing it right or not, but it seems disproportionate amount of anime bark they get from it compared to the other events, compared to the Roots event, for example. I don't know, it's just overall, I think the events need a little bit to be clearer, especially when it comes to highly populated places. And, I really wish that they made them a bit easier to understand, or at least they gave you, or maybe you can speak with the forester to give you explanations for the random events, specifically how they work, and a mini tutorial or something, because, again, some of them are a bit weird. Some of them the roots, fine, you just cut the roots, pretty self-explanatory, but again, the leprechaun, it's you're just maybe used to doing everything else in the other events, and then this one comes around and you're like, oh, what do I need to do? And then you just don't need to do anything. So, but overall, I think that Forestry is really good. I think that, it can go only up from here, pretty much. I'm glad that people also received it pretty well. I think that it goes well, or it bodes well for the future of the game, and for other skills. Because I'm hoping that they touch on stuff like mining and whatnot, because currently mining isn't exactly the most fun thing in the game, let me tell you. As a gathering skill, I think that most other gathering skills are fine, they're passable, they have enough activities, but mining is just rough. I know they have sort of done that with the Motherlode Mine upper floor. That works exactly the same ways that trees do nowadays. But it's still, people still don't know that that's a thing. That doesn't apply to the vast majority of the skills. So hopefully with the success of woodcutting, they do end up exploring these type of options for the future, and I do hope that they take a page out of RuneScape 3's playbook and actually reduce the amount of logs and stuff like that you have on boss drop tables and stuff like that. Not entirely remove them, but at least nerf it a bit, because again, a lot of the devaluation from logs came exactly from not just not having a lot to be used on, but the fact that you can just get a lot of them from PVM. But as far Forestry goes, that's pretty much it, and that's why I didn't want to make a full video about it, because there's not a lot to talk about. It's most again, most of what I said, about it, the positive punishment, negative punishment being more of a social thing, Jagex wanting it to be a social thing, wanting to punish you by having other players around and everything, and incentivizing a more cooperative playstyle. That I already said multiple times, and that's why I didn't want to make a video just to touch on the random events. So next up we have RuneScape 3's UI. Look, I've been meaning to talk about this for a little while, and I've already somewhat touched on it, especially when it came to my video about other content creators and about like something just not being very understandable from, you know, a viewer perspective. Like, you're just looking at their game and you don't know, like, you can't see items properly and stuff like that. And yeah, like the RuneScape 3 UI has always been a huge point of contention between players and Jagex, even because it's highly customizable. And the fact that it's highly customizable should be a good thing, but in reality, it just makes it really bad because, you know, it makes it really hard for people to just get a grasp of it, right? With all of the customization is good, but you almost need, you know, sort of like a fucking PhD just to understand how it works. You need to like watch fucking hour-long tutorial videos on YouTube to even understand how to edit it, and never mind, you know, put it in a place where you like actually enjoy it and it actually makes sense for your type of gameplay. Overall, I don't understand how to tackle this problem. I think that having a fixed UI would probably be the best. Just, you know, you hop into the game, fixed UI like old school does have, right? Yeah, you can pick resizable in old school and everything, and you can move a lot of things around, especially because of RuneLite. But, you know, you always have that fixed UI option, and I think that just should be the best for RuneScape 3. Just have that be the default, and then, you know, for the people that do want to, like, you know, explore the settings and stuff like that and move it around, then yeah, allow them to do so. Or, you know, if you're afraid that players, especially at the beginning, don't really know how to mess with it too much, make it like an unlockable reward. So like, you know, you complete like a tutorial and then you unlock slowly stuff that you can edit like your, you know, UI, because otherwise it's just like, I don't know, I think it's really complicated to put a UI in a place where it has the same level of customization that it's easily earnable or learnable rather, that you know, players fully understand from the beginning. I just don't think, again, like RuneScape 3 just has so many things, but I think like maybe just disable most shit as well that the screen has at the beginning. Like I think that chat, inventory, minimap, and the combat bars should be the only UI that you have at the very beginning. Like you just spawn into the world with those, that's it, you know, and just place them in the same way that old school has them, because again, that seemed to work, you know. It's really good for people to watch, it's understandable, you know, it doesn't change too much from player to player, and yeah, like even if other players, like, you know, if endgame players want to like mess with it and, you know, just actually put their inventory in the top left corner for some reason because they're sociopaths, right? Like, yeah, if they want to do that, then allow them. But I think that for the vast majority of players, you, like, with how malleable the UI is, you just end up confusing people further, especially when you opt to like a legacy world or something like that, and then you opt back, and then your UI is different, and you're like, oh shit, how do I fix it, right? Which is another thing. I think that the UI shouldn't really like change because you opt worlds or stuff like that. It becomes a bit jarring to say the least, and yeah, like if you don't know specifically everything and how to change everything back, it can become just an absolute nightmare. And yeah, I mean, again, like I appreciate how customizable it is, but I don't think it needs to be as customizable from the beginning of the game. Again, like I think that the best approach should just be, as players unlock more things, as players, you know, do more tutorials or more quests and stuff like that, just unlock different aspects of the UI and sort of make that a reward. Again, like I understand, you know, if it's a veteran player that is creating a new account, they already have a UI in mind that they can, like, you know, make or whatever, and they want to play with a UI. Like I understand that, you know, locking these things, it's like, oh shit, you know, like the player will have to use the, you know, normal UI until they are like unlocked and have unlocked the rest of the UI. But ultimately it's like, I think it's for the best, because again, like how many new players or how many endgame players end up creating new accounts to play where the UI is like the number one concern that they have. Like, cannot they, I mean, if they're endgame players for the most part, they will already know how to like level up super fast. They already have like a super efficient, like, you know, quest sort of path to do to avoid training a lot of early game skills and stuff like that. So I don't think that for them it would be that massive of an issue to just do those quests as fast as possible, or like do those tutorials as fast as possible and just unlock the rest of the UI. But for new players, it's like they can take their time, get used to the UI, you know, get used to the, like the little tweaks that they can do to it, and then, you know, they'll learn another one and another one, right? And just overall, I don't know, make it easier, or just make a tutorial in game that just, you know, goes over everything you can do with it or something like that. Because again, like it's such a massive issue. It's such a massive issue that, like a lot of I remember when I created my no bank account, I think that I didn't even have the chat in the right place. I think it was I had to move around the combat ability bar because it was on top of the chat, and like that was just really weird for me. Like again, like I think that an old school approach to this would just be better. Just make everything super clear, and yeah, like I understand, especially, and the game just resizes really weirdly. I noticed because your UI won't resize with the game. So in old school with resize mode, the UI is always the same size, right? Or rather, you can like resize it with Runlight. There's an option to like resize the UI, so the UI can always be the same size. But in RuneScape 3, like if you resize the UI or like if you resize the client, the UI doesn't actually resize. And given that the original client isn't even like smaller, it usually like is full screen, or at least it occupies most of your screen. Stuff just ends up looking like really empty in the screen, and again, like filling the screen with the UIs then later on just becomes like sort of a nightmare. So again, like I think that just keeping things simple should probably be the way to go on that regard. And I think that making it unlockable, especially certain advanced UI like editing, should be unlockable as opposed of after some tutorials. Just have players do some tutorials when it comes to the UI, and then if they forget something, they can just repeat them or something along those lines, because it's overall better than just, have players continuously confused because, oh shit, I moved like my fucking chat box to the middle of the screen and now I don't know what the fuck to do. I can't move it back because they didn't realize that they locked the thing, right? Or the shortcuts as well. Like sometimes I'm trying to type something and then I start typing something, but the enter key didn't go through, so I'm just using shortcuts to like open menus and shit like that, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like, and sometimes I just have to sort of think, okay, how was the UI before I mistyped stuff, right? Like maybe disable shortcuts for the UI at the beginning of the game, and make players actually genuinely have to like turn on an option that allows you to do that, because again, like most of the times if I need to open something, I'll probably open them from the menus with my mouse because point and click game. So yeah, maybe like again, I just think that the problem with RuneScape 3 UI is mostly that because it's so highly customizable for the most part, if you're a new player, you're just gonna fat finger something and then make your UI worse and change it, and then you're just not gonna know how to change it back. Because there's so many options, and I just think that is really bad thing, which is why I think that again, like locking stuff to tutorials and stuff like that would just be better and then allow you to unlock it, right? Old school does that a lot, where like it gives you a lot of options, but a lot of them have to be turned on in the options, or like have to be modified in the options in order for you to have a different gameplay experience, right? Again, with Runelight, Runelight allows you to customize the game quite a lot, but you need to install Runelight, you need to turn on the plugins, and you need to mess with the plugins in order to even change how the game looks, because otherwise you have two looks. You have resizable and you have fixed. That's it. Those are the two modes that the game has, right? So overall, maybe, locking these options out wouldn't be the worst idea. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bit of a shorter ramble here. I've been meaning to talk about these topics, and I've been accumulating topics for a while to talk about, but most of them just end up being turned into videos, like the Z thing, which was something that I have been meaning to ramble about for like a few months now, and I never got the opportunity, and then I started writing a video on it, and then a poll came out, and then I was like, sure, I'll finish the video, and yeah, so more rambles to come in the future. I have another one, but I don't think it's appropriate for this video, or at least I haven't thought about it a lot yet. But yeah, speaking of Runelight and RuneScape 3, yeah, maybe I'll make a video looking at the positives and negatives of RuneScape 3 not having sort of a Runelight system. But yeah, as far as Ramble goes, this is pretty much it.